Hello everyone, my name is Fea Tariana Intapan and I'm about to report the sewing of household linen. So, sewing household linen is a great way to personalize and create unique items for your home. Before we start sewing, we have to know what are the tools and materials that we are going to use. So there are four tools in sewing. The first one is measuring tools. The second one is cutting tools. And the third one is marking tools. And the fourth one is sewing tools. And we're gonna discuss them one by one. So let's start with the measuring tool. First on the list is tape measure. We are all familiar about this as we are using it when we measure our body, our vital statistics, and so on. Okay, so tape measure is usually made of cloth or plastic. This is used for taking body measures as well as cloth and other materials. Ruler is used to measure and draft lines on the fabric or pattern. The third one is metal gauge. This is a movable marker that measures distance and correct thickness, such as distance between buttons, pleats, and hems. The third one is hem gauge. This is used to measure and correct hem of the cloth. Then the French curve. This tool is used in drafting curves and the pattern of the arm, neckline, and crotch. Another familiar measuring tools is meter stick. It's also used to measure a fabric, especially when we buy a fabric on the store. Another is tailor square, used for correct measurement of lines in the right angle. Next is curve stick. It is used to have the accurate curve lines on the skirt. So those are the measuring tools that we are going to use. The next part is cutting tools. The first one is embroidery scissors. These scissors are designed of needlework. Another is dressing shear. These big scissors are used for cutting fabric. Next is pinking shear. These are scissors with serrated blades or zigzag edges, similar to saw, used for cutting fabric edge to prevent it from fraying or raveling. Another is light trimmers, used for small cutting. This tool has one point blunt to prevent the fabric from snagging. Next is Brent-handled shears. Shears with the straight blades and the handle that is offset as an angle allows the lower blade to stay flat on the cutting surface. Next is sewing scissors. These scissors are used for trimming seams and pasting. Next is thread clippers, a small tool used for snipping thread. The next one is seam ripper. This tool is used to open seams as well as other detail work. Another is stitch ripper, a small tool made of metal used to remove stitch. So those are the cutting tools that we are going to use. The next part is the marking tool. First on the list is tracing wheel. Marking tools with sawtooth blades used to transfer and marks in a pattern with the also have tailor's chalk. This is a hard square wax, usually colored orange, used to mark the seamlessness for sewing lines and fabric. We also have tracing paper. This is used with the tracing wheel to transfer marks from the patterns to the cloth. We also have soft pencil. This is used in a pattern construct. And those are the marking tools that we are going to use when we start sewing. The last part is the sewing tools. The first one is needles is a sewing tools that has one sharp end and a hole at the other end to make a thread pass through. They come in different sizes and are used in sewing to pass the thread through the cloth either by hand or machine. There are three types of needles. Longest with round eyes for general sewing, quills. Next and length with slender eyes for darning and embroidery. And between the shortest needles with round eye for fine sewing and tailoring or dressmaking. Next is long darners. Long, thick needles suitable for mending holes on heavy fabric. We also have cotton darners or fine points, used for darning, suitable for delicate yarns such as cotton and silk. Next is beading needles, very long and fine with a sharp point, used for decorative work, particularly for attaching beads and sequins. Next is curved needle, used in mattressing and upholster. Next is the ballpoint needles or round points. It is used between knitted yarn fabric. Next one is straw, longer needles than between, used for Next is tapestry needle. Strong, thick needles that have a sturdy, blunt point suitable for working tapestry and needlepoint craft. Next is embroidery crewel needles. It is sharp, medium-length needles with a long eye through which are threaded strands of embroidery. Next is glovers or leather hand needles. It is sturdy and round eye and triangular point, suitable for piercing both leather or strong plastic. Next is pin. Strong plastic fabric pins to hold pieces of fabric. Be sure to use pins that have sharp and pointed tips. Next is pin cushion. Made of varied materials such as cotton, it is used to keep needles and pins when unused. Next is emery bag. Similar to a pin cushion with rafter content such as finely ground broken plates or very fine dried sand to sharpen the tips of the pins and needles and to prevent them from getting rust. Next one is thread. This is used for stitching cloth either by hand or machine and comes in different colors and thickness. It can also be used for surface decoration or embellishment. Thread can be made of cotton, nylon, or silk. Size may range from 40 that used for heavy sewing or thicker thread to 100 finer thread for sheer materials such as silk or organza. Number 50 is commonly used for hand sewing. Thread are sold in skeins or embroidery, cones, spools, and bows. Next is needle threader, to aid in inserting the thread into the eye of the needle. The next one is thimble. Small, durable, protective cup made of metal or plastic, used to protect the finger from being pricked when pushing the needles through the cloth. So that's all the sewing tools that we're going to use when we start sewing. The next part is some tips to keep for sewing tools and equipment last longer. So, dili mataganahan nga maguba dahil ng ato ang mga gamit. So, here are 7 tips in order for us to preserve our materials or tools. The first one is keep in a storage box when not used. So, dili na to siya pasagdaan. Dapat naa siya certain area or naa siya sudlanan kung asa na to ginabotang ang ato ang tools. Next is place the pins and needles in the pin cushion. So, itatanan dire for sure kaagi naman jud ta og tahi-tahi. So dili na to pasagdaan ang pins nga magkatag kay makasamad siya or maybe na ay accident nga mahitabo. And also, mas dali po siya makita kung naa siya specific na butanganan or nakabutang siya sa pin cushion. The third is all the scissors, especially the screw to prevent rust. Have it sharpened. First, need po na siya og oil na butangan kay para di siya kanang tayaon na mugahi na siya din na siya magamit. And also, at ato na siyang bairon kay para sunod na tong gamit is hait na siya. Kay madaot man pud gud ang fabric if ang imuhang gamito na scissors kay perting pagkahabula. The next one is arrange thread nicely. So, unsa na yung thread? Thread is hilo. The fourth one is fold the tape measures. Sabtan na we need to fold it right, keep them safe, and keep them to the place nga dili siya madaot. And then, 6 is make an inventory of your materials, tools, and equipment. So, kita, kailangan sa nato i-inventory ang atong mga gamit, no? Kay, usahay, gamit ta og thread na, ay, wala na day red, wala na day blue, na, diba? So, and also, kung naay mga mawala nga mga butang, dali sad siya mapangita or dali siya mapangitaan og paraan na ma-replace siya gani. Kay kung unyara nimo siya mabalaan nga usapan nimo gamiton, usapan ka wala dai ka ana. So better to know kung unsay available nimo dira o unsa ang mga kulang. And the last one, be sure that your hands are clean and dry before starting to sew. Use a handkerchief or face towel to wipe your sweat. So, dili ra day sa pagkaon, kailangan nato maninaw, no? Also in sewing. Why? Because to prevent a bacteria and kabaluta ang mga cloths baya ginabutang ra na usahay gani sa lugra or asa na siya mga abog ana niya ang mga materials po na itong gamiton bisag asa na siya mabutang. And to prevent lang yun sa mga bacteria nga mo spread. And also, proper hygiene na po na dapat ugaliin or dapat i-practice yun nato na nagyan na sa ato ang daily routine ang mag-wash sa atong hands. So, those are the tips that we have to keep in mind. The next part of my topic is planning a project for sewing. Careful and systematic planning is the first step in making a good sewing project. Plan what to sew, materials needed, and how to go about the project. So, dapat naka-arrange ng naanatay process gani kung saan unsa ato ang himuon. Of course, kabaluta kung unsa mga kulang or unsa atong angay paliton for that specific project. Then, the following are some guides to consider in preparation of project plan. And for that, I'm gonna give you guidelines to consider in preparation of your project. The first one is to study the project. Make a detailed illustration and list down the materials to be used. So, punan sa nato, kung sa atong himuon, dili same ato ang luto-luto nga first time same sa ko first time na ko gihimo wala ko nag-practice daan so naan mga medyo tagilid tayo doon ng konti pero it's okay, diba? So, for this project plan dapat kabalo na ta kung unsaon iyang process dili na ta newbie ana nga butang naatay pattern daan detailed na siya at usa ka mo cut sa fabric di ba mag-cut sa kauna sa papel so maupo ang imuhang guide sa unsay size sa pag-cut unsay forma sa imuhang cut usa ka mo dito sa tela kay ngano anugon ang tela if masayop ka so and also, you need to list down the materials that you are going to use. Pero sa kung gingon gaina, kung naay mga kulang, so makapalit dayon ta or atuwa din siyang ma-cope up or atuwa din siyang ma-fill in. So, dili na to himuon nga usa pa ta makabalo nga wala day ta ana kung nag-start na ta sa ato ang project. So, we need to be prepared. We have to secure gyudaan kung unsa mga materials na itong gamiton para pag abot sa time na mag-create na ta, so diretso ang ato ang paghimo and dili ta ma-delay. Okay? Next is choose the fabric most suitable for the project. So kung unsa atong tahion dapat suitable pod ang fabric na ato ang gamiton. Kung cotton ba, silk ba, depende ninyo. And later on we will know kung unsa ang mga galain-lain nga mga fabric nga suitable or ato ang gamiton when we are going to do a sewing or project for sewing. Next is plan the steps to be followed in making the project. So, mura gyapon steps, process, all in all, dapat na atay plano kung unsaon na siya paghimo. Para di ta matalang, no? And para di sad sila makaingon nga ay baguano na siya. So, you need to act like a pro. Next is prepare the sewing tools and sewing machine. So, kung unsa man imong gamiton, mag hand sewing ba ka or using machine, i-prepare na ninyo daan, no? Now, dagbalik-balik ra gyud ang idea. You have to prepare all the materials that you are needed. Next is prepare the materials needed. Consider the quality of materials to be used in the project. So, the quality of the materials, mao gyud na dapat i-keep in mind. Kay naa bitaw barato, pero unsa man ni usay ang hilo nga atong paliton dito sa barato niya. Dali ra kayo siya maputol, di ba? Or ang garter, dili na kayo siya stretchy kay mao di ay barato or na ay mga tela gani nga nagkabustot-bustot na di ay. So, we need to look for a quality materials. Dili na to tipiron kay pwede na to siya magamit. And also, if we aim to be entrepreneur, mas dako atong income because ang ato ang product is high quality ug mao yun na ang permi ginapangita sa mga tao. High quality products jud ang madaog bisag mahal pa na siya or pricey na siya, basta good ang quality sa materials or sa product atong gihatag. Of course, paliton yun na sa tao. That's all the guidelines that you have to keep in mind. Proceed na to our next discussion, which is the part of the project plan. The first part is the name of your project plan. So, unsa man ang imuhang plano nga himuon or unsa man imong tahion, unsa man na product na imuhang i-offer. Like for example, scrunchie. So, scrunchie, no, is made up of silk fabric, no, nga and one kay siya ng very trendy sa karon kanang pungos gani na daghan kay mangumpra na kay freebies or ibaligya siya. So, you need to know kung unsang mga product na saleable sa market. Next is objectives, the reason for making the project. So, unsa may rason? Why are you going to do that? Why are you going to do this? Why do you want to create a scrunchie or pillowcase? Diba? Unsa man imuhang goal? Unsa gusto nimo ma-achieve? Next is the materials. The list of materials under description. So, unsa mga materials nga imong gamiton para asa nimo siya gamiton. Okay? Next is design or drawing of the project. An illustration for the project to be done. So, naka-sketch na ganit na kung unsa design nga imong gustong mahitabo sa imong project na detailed na or naka-illustrate na. Ang uban ganing designer kay i-drawing sana nila ang gowns or outfit nga usa nila himuon ang actual nga outcome or ang product. So, dapat detailed na siya, naka-illustrate na ang imuhang himuuno na project. Then, procedure. Steps in making the project. accompanied by illustration for clarity and understanding. So, naay mga steps unsay una himuon, mag-cut ba ka, mag-measure ba ka, and unahon nimo dira imo ka og scrunchie. So, una himuon nimo is mag-measure usa ka kung unsa siya kalapdon. Next is after nimo ma-measure, mo na siyang na-outline. Next is mag-cut na ka. Unsa imong gamit, unsa nga scissors nga imong gamiton. And then after nimo mag-cut, mo tong kuhaon ang garter, pasulod nimo. And after that, na siya sulod, imo na pud siyang isong, imo na siyang tahion para ma-close na siya. And then nana kay imuhang pungos. Actually, ako rin na siya ipambutang diri para ma-visualize ninyo kung unsa ako ang gustong ipasab. And then the next is evaluation. Check the quality of the finished product. A scorecard or rubrics is used for evaluating the project. It consists of a set of criteria with questions to be answered by the students, teacher, and the parents. Of course, kailangan jud equality check. No, kung nindot ba ang imong product nga gahimo, saleable ba siya sa market, kung if you are a entrepreneur, and of course, na-jud siya yung rubric na ay basihan kung imuha bang project is nice, quality ba siya, so naatay mga criteria nga you need to consider. So that's all the parts of our project plan. First is name of the project, second is objectives, third is materials, fourth is the design or drawing of the project, fifth is procedure, and number 6 is evaluation. So the next part of my topic will be the different kinds of fabric. The first one is cotton. This is a cloth, smooth, durable, and absorbent. It is appropriate for tropical climate. It can be used in making blouses, aprons, housecloths, gowns, hand towels, pillowcases, handkerchiefs, and other home furnishings. Next is wool. This cloth is suitable for cold season. It is thick and slightly rough. It is obtained from the fur of the sheep. It is usually used in making jackets, bed sheets, and sweaters. Next is silk. It is an expensive fabric. It is quite difficult to cut and sew because of its fine, smooth, and lustrous texture. Next is linen. This fabric comes from the flax plant. It is the oldest kind of fabric. It is cool and absorbent. Next is synthetic. Made from man-made fibers woven into different fabrics like nylon, rayons, dracone, and banlon. This cloth can be easily washed and dried. Sure that you're aware of the different types of fabric. The design of the fabric should also be appropriate with the projects. Texture of the materials should also be considered. Here are some examples of fabrics for household linens. Household linens such as beddings, tablecloths, and towels are intended for daily use. I'm just gonna flash in the screen the details so you can take a screenshot of it so that you will be guided, and it is very important, you guys. So I'm gonna be back. So let's proceed to the next part of my topic, which is preparing the fabric. Number 1 is soak cotton fabric overnight in the water. So, ato ang huluman ang tala sa water. Hang to dry, do not wring. Third is iron wrinkle when dry. So, ito siyang planchahon after niya na namala. And then, check the fiber lengthwise. It should be straight. So, check na to if straight pa siya or not. Next is raw edge and selvage should be trimmed. So, kung naay sobra, then you're gonna cut them or i-trim na yung siya. Next, iron the fabric if needed. If need pa naman siya i-planchahan usab, then go. So, sabotable naman kaayo ang mga saan na siya pag-prepare. So, that's the end of my report and I hope you guys have something got from me. I hope you had a wonderful day. Bye-bye!